Welcome to Does It Matter by Brainy Ballers, where we dissect the game with cutting-edge analytics to give you the upper hand. We analyze everything from hand sizes to average depth of targets to uncover hidden trends that no one else sees. Say goodbye to guesswork and hello to data-driven domination. Because here at Brainy Ballers, we don't just watch the game, we understand it. So get ready, it's podcast time.
All right. Welcome to the deep dive. Does a wide receiver's hand size actually make a difference? Or is it just like combined noise?
Well, that's the core question our source tackled. And their whole mission was basically, let's use data. Let's see if hand size is just talk or if it genuinely predicts success, specifically fantasy football success.
Okay. And they needed quite a bit of data for that, I imagine.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This wasn't just like a couple of years. They looked at the top 50 for 21 straight seasons.
Yeah.
From 2003 all the way up to 2023.
Wow, 21 years. That's a serious chunk of time. A lot of data points.
For sure. Gives you a really solid base to actually spot real trends,
So how do they start? How do you even begin to sort through 2 decades of performance data like that?
They started pretty logically by tiering the players. They wanted to see if guys at the very top, the elite producers, shared physical traits differently than, say, guys lower down the list.
Makes sense, like comparing the best to the rest.
Exactly. So they compared the average hand size of the truly elite group, the top 5 fantasy finishers each season.
Okay, the cream of the crop.
Against the lower performing group, specifically those finishing between 31st and 50th overall.
Right. And did anything stand out when they compared those averages year after year?
Yeah, something pretty striking, actually. They found the average hand size for that top 5 group was equal to or larger than the average for the 31st to 50th group in 17 of the 21 seasons.
17 out of 21.
That's what, like 80.9% of the time? So right away, that suggests something's going on with hand size at the very top.
Okay, so a general trend. Bigger hands seem more common among the elites. But did they find like a specific threshold, a point where performance really jumps?
They did. They dug deeper than just the averages and looked at individual players.
Yeah.
And the data pointed towards what they called an optimal range.
An optimal range. Interesting. What was it?
Do you want to start dominating your drafts? At BrainyBallers.com, we've researched every metric under the sun for you to find which ones are best linked to fantasy points. You can access hundreds of metrics to sharpen your scouting abilities so you know which metrics matter and which are just noise. Stop guessing on which thresholds to look for within each metric. Big numbers can be misleading or irrelevant. Our Ultimate Athlete Blueprints reveal essential scouting metrics, their importance, and benchmarks within each metric that help predict a player's probability of being a success or bust. Elevate your scouting ability with Brainy Ballers Ultimate Athlete Blueprints today. Click the link in the description. Now back to the show.
It was 8.875 inches and above. Players with hands that size or larger showed up much more frequently among the top finishers.
8 7/8 inches. Huh, that's super specific.
Yeah.
So if that's the magic number, how common is that size overall? And more importantly, how much more common is it for the best guys compared to, say, the bottom feeders?
Right, that's the key comparison.
Yeah.
So they look at players finishing in the bottom 10 fantasy spots each year versus the top 10.
Okay, bottom 10 versus top 10.
And they checked how many in each group met that 8.875-inch threshold. For the bottom 10 guys, about 73.3% had hands that size or larger. You can maybe think of that as like the baseline for receivers in the league.
73%. Okay, so still pretty common, even lower down.
Right. But here's the kicker. For you listening, this is the big one. When they looked at the top 10 fantasy finishers since 2003, a stunning 93.9% of them had hands 8.875 inches or larger.
Whoa, wait, 93.9. That's almost everyone at the top.
It's a massive number. And what that means is there's a 20.6% increase in how often you see this trait in top 10 guys compared to those bottom 10 guys.
A 20% jump.
Yeah. It's not just a trait. It's clearly a dominant trait among the most productive receivers over a long period.
Okay, that definitely feels significant, but did they back it up statistically? Like, what did the actual correlation numbers say?
They did. They ran a Pearson correlation, which basically measures how strongly two things are linked. Between hand size and fantasy scores, they got a value of 0.111.
0.111. Now, that sounds kind of small.
It might seem small in isolation, yeah. But in sports analytics, context is key. Anything 0.1 or higher is generally considered pretty significant. It shows a real positive link.
So it's statistically meaningful.
Yeah.
But meaningful compared to what? How does that impact stack up against other things we know matter, like draft position?
Great question. So they put it in perspective. They compared that 0.111 value to the correlation for running back draft capital, which we all know is important.
Right. Higher draft picks usually get more chances.
Exactly. The correlation there is negative 0.234, negative because a lower draft number is better.
Wow. Okay. That really puts it into perspective. Is this trend holding up recently? Or is it fading a bit in the modern NFL?
Good point. They did look just at the last decade, 2014 to 2023. The effect is still definitely there, still significant, but they did note a slight decrease in its importance compared to the full 21-year run.
Any idea why?
They speculated a bit. Maybe changes in schemes, more spread offenses, maybe fewer contested catches on average, or specialized slot guys where maybe it matters less. But bottom line, the effect is still relevant today.
Okay. So let's bring this back home. For you listening, maybe drafting your fantasy team, what's the takeaway here?
It means hand size isn't just some random combine number anymore. It's not hype.
Yeah.
This data across 21 years shows that 8.875 inches or bigger is a statistically real trait found way more often in elite fantasy receivers.
So it's another tool in the toolbox when you're evaluating players.
Exactly. Think of it like a tiebreaker. You're stuck between two guys, similar stats, similar athleticism. Check the hand size.
Okay.
If one meets that 8.875 threshold and the other doesn't, the data suggests you're literally playing the odds by leaning towards the guy with bigger hands. Those odds have heavily favored guys with that trait hitting elite production levels for 2 decades.
Right. It's about tilting the probabilities in your favor.
Precisely. So, to sum it all up, this deep dive gives pretty compelling evidence that hand size, specifically that 8.875 inches and up, is a key marker for elite fantasy receivers based on a whole lot of data.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If something like hand size, often dismissed, has this kind of measurable link, what other minor physical traits, maybe in football, maybe somewhere else entirely, might actually hold hidden keys to success that we just haven't looked closely enough at yet?